Hello coders, I hope you are coding well. In the previous video, we created update room API call in our Spring Boot application, and in today's video, we will call get single room API in our Angular application, and after this, we will write the code to patch the data in the reactive form on the update room page. So let's get started. So in our Angular application, we need to open admin.service.ts file, and in this file we need to create a new method, and we will name this method as getRoomById. And after this, in the params of this method, we need to accept the room ID, so we will name this as ID, and the type of this will be number. And after this, we need to mention the return type of this method, which should be observable of type any. And after this, in the body of this method, we will write a return statement, and after this we will use HTTP client, and we will call get method. And after this, in the params of this method, we need to give the URL, so let's mention basic URL. And after this, we need to concatenate the endpoint URL, so we will use plus sign, and after this we will mention backticks, and we will add the URL as api/admin/room. And after this, we need to pass the room ID, so we will mention slash, and then we will use dollar and then curly braces, and in this we will pass ID. And with this, our getRoomById method is completed in admin service. Now let's save this file, and let's open updateroom.component.ts file. And in this component, we need to write a method to call this API, and we will name this method as getRoomById. And in the body of this method, we will use admin service. And after this, we will call a method getRoomById. And in the params of this method, we need to pass the room ID, so we will mention this dot id, which is coming from the params. And after this, we will subscribe the response, and we will name this as res, and we will write an arrow function. And after this, to handle the errors, we will write error function as well. And in the case of error, we will use ng message service, and we will show error.error. And after this, in the case of success, we need to patch the response in this update room form. So we will write this dot update room form, and after this we will call a method patch value, and in this we will pass the response. And with this, our getRoomById method is completed. Now we need to call this method on the load of this component. So we will go to the constructor, and after creating the form, we will call this method by writing this dot getRoomById. And with this, our code in the TS file is completed. Now let's save this file, and let's run our application. And as you can see, our application is up without any errors. Now let's go to the browser, and let's test our getRoomById API call. And in the browser, on the login page, we need to enter the details of admin user, where the email is admin@test.com. And after this, we need to enter the password, which is admin. And after this, let's click on this login button. And as you can see, we got redirected to the admin dashboard after login. Now let's click on this edit button of room 1 updated, and as you can see, we got an error. Now let's go back to our Angular application, and let's fix this bug. And in our Angular application, we need to open admin service, and in this getRoomById API call, we need to pass the authorization header as well. So we will copy this, and after this, in the getRoomById method, we will paste this code, and after this we will save this file. And as you can see, our application got compiled successfully. Now let's go back to the browser, and on the admin dashboard page, we will click on this edit button again. And as you can see, we got redirected to the edit page, where after the API call, we got the details patched in this form. And that's it for today's video. In the next video, we will write the code to call the update room details API in our Angular application.